You know, if I had a genie in a bottle, I think one of the wishes that I would probably make is being able to eat more without gaining weight. And I know I'm not alone with that. I like food. Now, I'm not about to say that you can go out willy-nilly and eat whatever you want, but there's some interesting research that throws a wrench in the typical thermodynamic discussion of calories in, calories out, and all this. But it's good news, right? It's really good news. So there was a study that was published in the journal Physiology looking at fasted exercise, but not in the traditional fasted exercise burns more fat type sense. A very interesting one that was looking at being able to offset metabolic issues by doing exercise in a fasted state. It was very interesting. Okay, so what they did is they made subjects eat 30% more calories. So they're in a 30% surplus, high fat diet. So 30% more calories from fat. Then what they had them do is they had them do 4 days of either fasted exercise or 4 days of fed exercise, so carbs before the exercise, and then one group that was a control. They did this for 6 weeks, and they found that body weight increased in all the groups, no surprise, with the exception of the fasted group. That's bizarre, because they were eating in a 30% surplus. The fed group was still exercising, but they gained weight. The fasted group was exercising in a fasted state, still at a 30% surplus, but they didn't gain weight. So is fasted exercise magic? No, nothing is really magic, but we're learning that something is happening here, okay? So when you start looking mechanistically and you look more at the granular detail of this study, we see some other stuff. Well, there is a 28% increase in muscle GLUT4. GLUT4 is what takes glucose out of the bloodstream and brings it into the muscle. We store carbs in the muscle. The more muscle we have, the bigger the sink we have to dispose of glucose. It's like a big glucose disposal, like a garbage disposal that eats up glucose and puts it to good use rather than storage. So if we have more GLUT4, we have more nets being able to grab that glucose. Here's what probably drove the biggest change based upon what I know already. There was a 25% increase in what's called AMPK phosphorylation. So when you reduce calories, you phosphorylate AMPK, and that's sort of the switch that tells your body you are in a deficit, start pulling from your stored tissue. Well, it's a dimmer switch, not a light switch. So if you turn it on just a little bit, you burn a little bit more. You pull a little bit more from your stored fuel. But if you crank that up even more, down even more, then you start burning more. So if you have a 25% more activation or phosphorylation of AMPK, you have that much more of a quote-unquote deficit. So you're deeper in a deficit, not by a literal thermodynamic calorie for calorie unit of measure sense, but in sort of this metabolic activation sense. So that really could have been driving a lot of this. And the benefits of phosphorylating AMPK stand. The benefits of a caloric deficit, whether it's 1% or 100%, are amazing. So no one's denying that. But there was also an upregulation in the transporters that bring fat into a cell, called CD36. So the CD36 increase means that maybe the body was able to utilize fat better. This was only 6 weeks. This doesn't mean it can last forever. We don't know for sure, and it's a decently small study, but it confirms some of the interesting stuff. But let's talk about how you want to eat right after this, because this matters too. All the benefits that you got from this fasted workout really come around metabolic optimization and glucose metabolism. So it would make sense that after your workout, it would be totally okay to have some carbohydrates, right? Generally speaking, yes, it's probably the decent time to do it, but I've even said to do that before. But there's newer research that's starting to shift how we want to time our carbs. So I'm going to talk about a study that was published in the journal Nutrients that's going to change the way you look at post-workout nutrition. It did for me. One thing still stands. Right after your workout, have protein. Have some lean chicken breast, have some lean beef, have some egg whites, maybe something lean, have a whey protein shake. A lot of times I'll use SunWarrior protein shakes. They have one that's called the Active line. I put a link down below. That's the protein shake that I personally use because it's a pumpkin seed protein alongside a bunch of other really cool things. So it's got probiotics in it. It's got enzymes to help the protein actually digest, especially when I'm on a super empty stomach. So that link is down below. That is a 20% off discount link too. Best part, is probably one of the better tasting protein shakes, let alone a plant-based protein shake that I've ever had. Don't get me wrong, I still have whey protein shakes, I have egg white protein shakes. I eat meat, I eat liver, I eat spleen. I'm not vegan, I'm not even vegetarian, but I really do like this protein powder because I like how it sits with me and I like how I recover from it. So it's called their active line. So that link is down below. They have chocolate, they have vanilla. Again, 20% off using that code and that link down below in the description. So that stands, always the protein. But now evidence is suggesting we might want to wait 30 or 60 minutes before we have our carbs. Why? Well, this study took a look at people that did 90 minutes of exercise. And after their exercise, they gave them a carbohydrate drink that replenished exactly how many carbs they burned in their workout, or they gave them a fake carb drink that was a placebo. The group that had the carbohydrates actually ended up with worse insulin sensitivity. Their insulin resistance got worse. What is going on here? Well, basically, the post-exercise benefit of glucose disposal can be offset by taking carbs in. This is newer stuff. What this means is that you're getting all this benefit being in a fasted workout. If you have carbs right after it, it actually offsets the benefit of the exercise and can make your glucose tolerance worse. English, please. Carbohydrates right after a workout immediately stop the benefits of the workout and actually kind of erase a little bit of the glucose benefit you get. Still needs some work to understand what's going on here, but you don't need to change much. If you want to get nuanced with it and have fun and be really optimized, have your protein right after a workout, and then 30 minutes or 60 minutes later, have your carbs, if you even want to have them. It's not a necessity. And this works in a lot of different cases. If you've even not been training in a fasted state, maybe you went into a workout and had some carbs pre or intra-workout, let that be the fuel that you need. This just changes how we stagger our post-workout fuel. Protein, then a little bit later carbs, then a little bit later you're okay to have the fats. I always like to keep my post-workout nutrition as lean and as mean as I possibly can. So as always, keep it locked in here on my channel. I'll see you tomorrow.